Should be
All
good.
right. What do we got today?
Cool. Episode 4 of the Ready to Roll podcast. Today we're talking about how to improve your website for more conversions. So obviously, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but our background was in creating websites. Before we got into Rex, we were creating websites for a lot of the big players in the space. We created Lucky Strike's website. We created Spin Ping Pong's website. We created Dreamland's website and a lot of other websites in the space. And so I feel like me and you have a good perspective on this when it comes to like seeing a site and understanding whether that site is geared towards conversion or if it falls flat in some areas. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to just chat a little bit about what it is that makes a good website. And when somebody lands on that website, they're able to really understand what's going on. And obviously, the goal there is to for the person who's on your website to want to come and visit the venue. So whether that's booking through a reservation platform or inquiring about a party, those are generally the main call to actions that a venue's website will have. So thinking through that a little bit and understanding how to structure a site and what elements that site should have to hone in on converting those users.
Okay, sweet. And before we jump in, maybe to the specifics of each website, I just want to point out today, I think it's more important than ever to prime and prep people on social before they visit your website. So we'll obviously get into the nitty gritty on what it looks like on the site, but I think there's a big opportunity for venues and brands to showcase what their place is about on social so that when people land on your site, they're already prepped and primed and know what to expect.
Absolutely. And on that same note, when somebody is viewing your website, you want it to be a real representation of what they should be expecting when they visit your venue. So the branding and the messaging and the tone and all the language on your website really should parallel what the experience is in your venue. So that kind of leads me to the first part of the website, which is right when somebody lands on your website, what are they seeing? All right. Generally, we believe that a really high quality video is a good way to start there. That really shows your venue and shows exactly what it is that a guest will experience when they're there. So engaging, showing people having fun, showing the different activities that you offer, highlighting the food, highlighting the drinks in a very short video because the attention span also is much less. So you want maybe a 15-second loop that shows all of this in a very fun, actionable way.
Yeah, like an action reel.
Yeah, so um, I think it's important for venues to hire a professional for this and to have somebody come in. Maybe if there is a party being hosted at your venue, they could come in and just record for a day, or you have your own cast or whatever it is to create something that really simulates what the experience will look like in real life and not just corny, tacky kind of stock photography that you would use.
Okay. Well, I think that's great, and I think that's a good segue into the user generated content, which is like, yes, it does make sense maybe to hire some people and do a pro shoot someday, but it doesn't need to be overdone, especially today. And a lot of the content can come from actual customers and people who are in the venue and reposting on social. So that user generated content just looks real, authentic, and people know when you're faking it.
Yeah, people are really used to transparency now and seeing the raw experience that they're going to see when they come into a venue. And so if they're seeing real videos of real people who've been to your venue and are sharing those experiences, that's going to be much more impactful than a staged
Yeah.
um, photo shoot in which everybody kind of looks like a stage model, right?
Yeah. Totally. 100% agree. So I think I would even say that you kind of got to combine those two. Yes, you want your action reel, and if you can make your action reel be real shots of people who are in the venue, and have it be real user generated content, I think that's even better.
Yeah. I tend to still think that the landing video should be something that's a little bit more produced, that really catches your attention. But I do think there is a place on the homepage of the website to really display user generated content, and testimonials and case studies and social proof that really get somebody who is wanting to go to a birthday to see somebody else having a birthday there and be like, okay, yeah, this is where I need to be. This looks really fun. That's what I want to do. Or if you want to host a night out with the friends, you see somebody else doing that. You see the type of food they ordered. You see the drinks that they got. And you're like, okay, yeah, this matches up with exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, totally agreed. I think those are two good tips. So have those high quality videos, throughout the site, so people can really see what it feels like to be in the space.
Yeah, I think organizing the site in a really easy to understand way, it's because if somebody is landing on your site, they want to really be able to find what they're looking for easily. So maybe that's not wanting to book a activity or to book a party, but it's just wanting to see your hours really quickly. Are your hours displayed in a way that's easy to find? Is your menu very easily discoverable and somebody can click and understand what it is that you offer? So all of this needs to be really well thought out and organized in a way where if somebody's landing on your page for the first time, they can find that information and understand what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's two areas that I think venues tend to mess up often. We see it broken a lot of times. Starting with the menu. The menu is an area that sometimes can be a disaster with the way that some restaurants and venues link out to them, and you might have a different PDF for each different menu, a brunch, lunch, dinner, etc. And it's like really hard to find them, or you have to click through and then you jump to another link and then you have to go back. So thinking through the menu and making the menu easy to understand and access, I think is really important and probably definitely understated, because a lot of times when people, especially groups, want to come into a place, they'll go check the menu just to understand what they might want to order there. And if you can make it quick and easy for them to see the menu, pick one or two items that interest them, and then that just gets them comfortable with what they're gonna be ordering when they come in. I think it's super easy. And then, of course, that also translates into other more complex menus like party package menus and things like that, corporate event menus and all that. Same thing. I mean, you want to make it as easy as possible for the people planning these events to get all the information they need and make their decision.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
menus,
I think that's a really good point you brought up. It's not just the food menu, it's the activity menu and really displaying what it is you offer as far as all your activities, the pricing, how you price it, whether it's per person, per lane, per bay, flat
yes,
rate. All that stuff should be listed out to avoid any confusion and to really make it clear for somebody visiting for the first time. Um, so that all leads into people understanding what it is that you offer, and from there, once they have a good understanding of what it is, hopefully they know what they want to book and they're able to book that really easily. So that leads us to kind of having really clear call to actions on the website. And I know from our experience, Kev, when we were first designing websites, that was a big area that we were able to improve websites on, was kind of just asking to book now or asking to plan your visit right in the right places really makes a difference. If you don't have the buttons, then they're not going to be able to plan, right? So you really want to make it clear and show them, hey, this is how you plan. This is what you should do to reserve your spot,
yeah,
and make it easy for them to see those buttons and call to actions throughout the site when they're viewing the information.
yeah. And I would go as far as to say I think one general rule is you should just have one main call to action button, and TBD on what that button says. A couple of options. It could say book now. It could say plan a visit. It could say reserve. But I tend to believe that one singular focus button is way better for conversions, and then you can guide them once they click that button to get to the right place. And sometimes they might need to contact you and they can't book, but they should be able to find that through that singular button. So that one call to action throughout the site, placed you know, conveniently everywhere that people are browsing, and then they'll be able to click that and then interact with you the way that you want. So, sometimes they just might want to book a visit and play for an hour. Sometimes they might want to book a party package. Sometimes they might want to get in touch and talk about renting out the whole venue or something like that. But ultimately, one single call to action that gets them to engage, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, and avoid generic call to actions like learn more. I think what you were saying, like reserve your spot or plan your night out, really guide an action as opposed to something very basic like learn more, which doesn't really get anybody excited.
Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, just really focus on that call to action. Make the button clear. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be easy to find and easy to access.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's all making sense. So from there, once you click a call to action, what happens, right? So obviously we're in the business of making reservations really easy. So we see that fall off in a lot of websites. And Kev, if you want to share a little bit on the background of how we actually got into creating Rex and what that pain point was that we saw, which was that fall off when somebody goes from the website to the reservation page and the conversions falling off there. Maybe touch on that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned in the beginning, we used to have an agency where we designed and developed websites for a lot of entertainment brands, and we would create these really cool, beautiful looking modern websites, and we would create these call to actions like we just talked about. But the problem was that we weren't touching the reservations at all, the booking flow at all. So when customers would click that button, they would be directed to another page, another booking platform, and usually it was a total disaster. So here we are, we've designed this great website, and people are engaging with it and learning more and clicking the call to action, but then they drop into a page that doesn't match, a page that is hard to follow, hard to understand what's going on, might not be mobile optimized. And so that's actually what brought us into the business of creating Rex, because we kept noticing this problem. So it is a really important problem. The two things need to speak well with each other. They need to match as far as branding. They need to flow as one. So the customers shouldn't really feel like they're leaving the site or going, to a different site when they want to engage and interact with the venue to make a booking.
Yeah,
So that part is really key.
yeah, the whole experience should be connected, so there is no fall off when you're going from the website to the reservation page. So that kind of leads us to just making sure your reservation flow is very well thought out, and not just saying, "Oh, we have reservations; it should be good enough." Going through it from the guest perspective and looking through and saying, "Hey, is this really easy for a guest to book? When they land on this page, is it confusing? Is it still as clear as what I had on my website? Can they see all the packages listed out and understand what it is that they're booking?" Right? So all that makes a really big difference. You don't want the guest to now have this really good experience on your website. Then when they get to the reservation page, all of a sudden they get confused. There's a bunch of form fields that they have to enter out. Things are glitchy. It's not optimized on mobile, and now they can't click a certain button. So go through that process. Don't just say, "Hey, yeah, we're using so and so provider. Everything should be fine." Really go through that process and see if the experience is up to par with what your website is, right? And make sure it matches. It has that consistency and ease for your guests to book.
Yeah, and go through it on a phone and go through it on a desktop. So go through it both ways to make sure that it works and well, in both scenarios.
Yeah, I think that's another point that we should touch on is just making sure that everything is mobile friendly. I mean, I would say close to 70% of your visitors are going to come from mobile. So the experience, everything we talked about for as far as a website, when you look at it on your phone, it should match that. It should be consistent. You should have a responsive website that really works well with the phone
Yeah.
as well.
Let's go even further on quote unquote mobile friendly. I feel like it's not even enough these days. Like sometimes a website will be mobile friendly, but it's not that great to make a
It should be
booking.
mobile optimized.
Yeah, it should be just better,
Yeah.
equal or better
Yeah.
on mobile. It should be very easy to book on mobile. So clear buttons, not having to side scroll to find content and things like that. just to make sure that if somebody's on the phone, they can quickly and easily book.
Yeah, and on a similar note, I think the speed as well. If you have really large images or videos that are draining your site speed, and a guest is landing on the site, and now things are taking 4, 5, 6 seconds to load, that's a reason for somebody to click off your page and not come back. You got to make sure when somebody's coming to your page, things are loading quickly, the images that you have are all sized down, and the website loads fast so that people don't think, okay, this is a glitchy system, let me get out of here. They want to spend time, they want to click through, they want to see what they're looking for in a fast and efficient way.
Yeah, and one thing just to take notice of that sometimes happens over time. That can sometimes creep up. So sometimes you'll have a website and it works fine and fast at first, and then over time you're updating it and you're not optimizing the image size, or you're uploading like a full length video in there, and then you'll realize that it's slower later. So just do be careful when you upload things. Take note of the size. You're not putting, a 30 megabyte photo
Yeah.
somewhere. Um, it does make a difference.
And it's a thing you could check easily. You could use like Google Page Insights, Speed Insights, and put in your URL. It's going to tell you how your page loads and actually give you areas that you can improve. So make sure you're checking that consistently to see if your site has creeped up in size and slowness, and optimize for it.
Yeah, sweet. That's good advice.
So yeah,
Any other tips?
I mean, as a general rule of thumb, like your website is a salesperson, right? It's one of your leading salespeople. So you want to make sure that the site is looking good and is really really easy for guests to book. So think of it from that perspective. This is the first touch point that a guest has with your venue, and you want it to be an accurate representation of what it is you're offering. So really take pride in it. I think, Kev, if we wanted to chat like a little bit about what that process would look like for somebody who maybe wanted to optimize their site or to make some improvements, how would you recommend they go about that to kind of take the first steps into launching a new site that kind of ticked all these boxes?
Either tell a friend or do it yourself and go through the website on desktop and mobile to make a booking from start to finish, and make a note of anything that annoys you, um, and then organize that list of what annoys you the most, combined with what's most important, to drive business, and then start to tackle those one at a time. If you need to hire somebody to do it, then go for it. If you have somebody on the team that can help, then show them those issues and try to resolve them. I think the key is don't try and think that you have to do everything perfectly. As long as you can identify maybe the top 3 or 5 annoying pain points on the website and resolve those, that should generally get you to a good place. Obviously, there's always other improvements that you can make, but that's where I would start. Make a couple test reservations, one on desktop, one on mobile. See what bugs you, write those down, organize them in the order of importance, and then just knock them out one at a time.
Yeah, and it's a really iterative process. So if you make one change, track that change, see if it's making an impact, and continue that process of making changes and tracking to see what's actually working, because that way you take the guesswork out of it. You're just looking at data and results and seeing what is actually driving conversions. So I think that's a really helpful way to look at it.
Yeah, totally.
What else? Anything else as far as the websites go?
No, I think we did a good job on the website stuff. If we want to maybe do a roundup of some of the updates
Cool.
for the week, the things that are going on.
Yeah, so it was another busy week. We had the time change last Saturday night, Sunday morning, and another week of updates. So, what were some things that we pushed out this week?
I forget if we mentioned this last week or not, but we now do have the ability to automatically store credit cards and charge them later. We also added minimum order amount, which is a brand new feature that was requested by a couple of clients, where you can just have a minimum amount, for example, $200 or $300, and the activity plus all the add-ons needs to meet or match at least $300 in order for them to make that booking. Just a nice way to get your average order value up. So that's out as well. Um, Other than that, we finally started working on the updated dashboard. So, we'll have updates coming on that over the next couple of weeks as well. And then a couple of boring under the hood updates in relation to some of our integrated partners like GoTab. We've updated some of the connections between how we track which customers spend what, and ultimately it leads to better loyalty management so that like which customers spent how much and which days, things like that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Anything you're excited about next week?
This is going to be a selfish one because our customers won't see it. Yeah, but we're updating our super admin dash, which is the dashboard view that we have. So I actually am pretty excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's the area that me and you spend the most time in.
Me
So
and you are in there all day, so we're going to update that a little bit. But then we'll take some of those updates and we're going to transfer them into the admin dash that our customers see over the next couple of weeks after that.
totally, totally. All right, so Friday at noon for you. What do you have? What do you have planned for the weekend?
It's going to be a fitness class for shortly after this call.
Which
Try and do something high intensity.
where are you going? Which one?
I'm gonna do sweat 440,
Okay, nice.
and you finally have the marathon this weekend.
Yeah, it's on Sunday, so take it easy today. I've been trying to carb up, and it's not easy. I've been trying to get about 600 grams of carbs a day, and it's very, very hard, but we're working on it.
Scarfing a muffin or something
It was
before.
the rice cakes. Yeah,
All right.
I had two rice cakes with bananas and dates, and I think I got like 100 grams in for breakfast. So,
All right.
yeah, Sunday's a big day. We're gonna crank it out, and then off for another week.
All right, brother. Crush it. Do well.
Thank you, man.
We'll on Monday. Hopefully, you're not too beat up and sore.
Well, I might be, but I'll still be here. All right,
All
man.
right, man.
Talk to you. All right.